Friedman, one of, if not the most well-known and popular boutique guitar pedal and amp company in the US. We don't get a whole lot of Friedman gear here in Europe, especially not in Germany. You can buy it online, but you'll never walk into a guitar store and see a Friedman amp or a Friedman guitar because their amps, at least, are kind of just the American version of Marshall, while, Marshall amps are British, so here in Europe they are quite cheap because there aren't any, import taxes, but in the US they're a lot more expensive, and in turn, Friedman amps, which are made in the US, are a lot cheaper there than they are here. And one of, if not the most recognizable piece of gear in Friedman's catalog, is the BE-OD overdrive. So you can imagine the look on my face when a couple weeks ago I was just absent-mindedly scrolling AliExpress while watching Netflix, as I do, making a series of 90-cent impulse purchases, when this thing popped up. The Friedman BE-ODX by Demon Effects. So of course I had to order it immediately. I paid a solid €45 for it, which is a good chunk of money for what is just a counterfeit pedal from China. And then I forgot to actually order the real Friedman pedal for a while, so I had this one first, and first impressions were it's built quite well. It is heavy, heavier than I'd expect a pedal like this to be, because these are usually made of nothing and, trash. And the front face of it kind of gave me the impression of, how in a sitcom, if they're, eating chips or drinking soda, and it's very obvious that what they're drinking is Coca-Cola or Fanta or Sunkist, or they're eating Lay's, but they just change one letter in the brand name so as to bring across to the viewer that it's not a product placement. That's what this is. This seems like that slightly off-brand kind of thing that you would find in a sitcom or Call of Duty or something. But overall, this seemed like a perfectly fine pedal, and if it weren't obviously a knockoff because of the name, having never owned the real thing before, this could have fooled me. But then I got the real one, and a lot of things began to make sense. Hey, it's me. You recognize me, right? I think I've seen you before. Yeah, alright, so this video doesn't have a sponsor, because I've chosen to, in lieu of a sponsor, advertise my Instagram and TikTok pages, which are linked in the description. It's very important for someone like me who makes YouTube videos to have a presence on other social media platforms as well, and it's been growing, but it's been growing kind of slow, so I felt like a bit of a call to action might help. Follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram. Stuff goes on there that doesn't go on here, not even on YouTube Shorts. If you want some extra content and you want to see what goes on in my day-to-day life, I guess, then follow me on there. All the links in the description. Thank you in advance. Back to the video. The real Friedman is like a solid ½ centimeter taller. The housing of this one is a regular aluminum housing, which is perfectly smooth, whereas if I scratch on the real one with my fingernail, you can kind of hear what texture it has. Besides that, the fonts on the Demon Effects one are just completely random and kind of look like you tried to draw this one from memory. But none of this matters even in the slightest if this €45 pedal sounds even a tad bit as good as this €250 boutique one. As you can see, I have, to the best of my ability, dialed in the exact same settings on both of them, and I'm going to run both of these constantly set to the exact identical settings through this JCM 800 Kerry King signature and into this Marshall 800 1960 cab fitted with two B30s and two greenbacks. And my weapon of choice for this experiment is my 2003 Fender Stratocaster. Let's go! Well, the results are in, and quite frankly, I am stunned. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did lay down a pretty chunk of change for this thing. Like $50 is still like 2 brand new Behringer pedals, or 3 if you're lucky if you find them used on eBay. So, you know, it better be good. But my expectation was that this thing would pretty much be ripe for the bin out of the box, and there was one reason for that. And that is that usually if you have a product that is of good quality, you won't try to pretend it's something that's already established and exists. You will market it as your own thing. And looking a bit deeper into this company, Demon Effects, they do have some original pedals, so I'm just not sure why they decided to make this one a knockoff. I suppose it does have a bit of a similar character in that it is an overdrive pedal, but the gain knob on the Freedman is so much more sensitive that with both knobs in exactly the same position, this one delivers so much more gain already. Which did kind of cause a bunch of hum, like this one was silent in between chugs, and this one caused, you know, a little bit of audible hum despite the noise gate that is built into the JCM 800 if you engage the Beast Mode button and a Boss NS2 on my pedal board. And B, this one has a lot more bass and mids. It's very wall of sound-ish, but in a great way. This is very modern metal sounding. While this is kind of, you know, Marshall, Friedman sounding. I imagine like the Marshall pedals kind of sound similar to this one. So the Freedman is actually kind of closer to a distortion than it is to an overdrive, but I have to say that with this rig that I have going right now, which I explained earlier, the amp, the speakers, the guitar I was using, I prefer the Freedman. Now, does that mean it's a better pedal? No, it does not. Not in a million years would I say that this is objectively better than a real Friedman. And if you're looking for Friedman sound, this won't deliver it. So this isn't a substitute for this. It's just a different pedal. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I started this video determined to give one of these pedals a permanent place on my board, and it's gotta be the Freedman, because this thing, as much as I did like the sound of it, was not vibing with my whole setup as much. And that's a weird thing, because given that I'm playing a Strat through a Marshall head into a Marshall cabinet, I was expecting this to go absolutely perfectly with everything I have going on right now, and it didn't sound bad at all. I loved the sound of it. It just wasn't the tone that I was hoping for out of this thing, especially not knowing Friedman's amplifiers. So that was the experiment. I found this very entertaining, and also, side note, if you want one of these actual Friedman pedals, since these are readily available on Thomann and Sweetwater, I have affiliate links for those in my video description, because if you want one of these and buy it through that link, I get a small commission and it helps the channel. So that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members for supporting the channel. Here are all of their lovely names. The Patreon starts at $5 a month. You get bonus videos every week, access to my exclusive Discord server with weekly voice chats, this and that, all of these benefits. You can watch my most recent video somewhere up here. You can watch my most recent fake AliExpress gear video somewhere up there. Subscribe to the channel somewhere down there if you feel like it. Social media is in the description. Everything's in the description. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. I'll see you around.